The sun is shining, the lambs are bleating, the birds are singing, and most importantly, the crabs are peeling. Yes, spring has sprung, and that means the estuaries around the coast are filled with crabs shedding their old hard shell, revealing that soft, lovely gooiness underneath that bass in particular cannot resist. So I thought I'd do a little quick video to show you guys A, how to prep a crab, how to peel it, B, how to mount it on a hook, and C, a little simple rig that'll hopefully catch you some bass. Let's jump straight into the crab, shall we? So, if you're collecting your own crabs or you're buying them from the shop, in an ideal world, what we're going to look for is a crab with a bit of a split down the side of his shell there. It might be a tiny split, it might be quite a large split like that, he might be fully jumping out. But a little split down the side shell will make life a lot easier when it comes to peeling. First thing most people do when they pick up their peeler crab is lift off that hard shell off the top. Don't do that. Stop. My top tip, peel that bit last, okay? There's a reason for that. I find the easiest way to hold the crab when you're peeling is with the back of the shell. And if you've taken that hard shell off, all you're doing is mushing up the soft shell underneath, okay? So leave the hard shell, leave the top, leave the lid on for last, okay? Right, first of all, this is a dead crab. This is a frozen crab I've taken out of the freezer. It is already deceased, so I'm going to pluck the legs off. If you're using live crabs, maybe think about dispatching it humanely before pulling its legs off, eh? Right, first jobs first, remove the legs. They are done. Now we've got this little V section under the belly there, in between the legs. I'm just going to sort of pick away at that. Basically, underneath the crab, pick away at any hard shell you can find. Now at this point, I'm going to say, don't worry if you can't get all of the shell off. It really doesn't matter. Bass especially, they will eat hardback crabs. They're not that fussy. Right, so I've removed that belly shell. I'm just going to pluck out the two mouthpieces here. That couple of side bits of shell, which have actually already fallen off whilst I was manhandling it. And then finally, lift your lid. There we go. And there we go. That is a fully peeled peeler crab ready for baiting up. I nearly always cut my crabs in half. Let's be honest, they're not the cheapest bait anymore. I honestly don't think you'll catch any more fish by using a whole crab than you will a half crab. So chop it straight down the middle like that. You're going to get two beautiful baits out of one crab. Now our crab is peeled, let's throw together a really, really simple rig. For all of my viewers out there who watched me before, you know exactly what I'm going to do, right? You got it. Earth rig. I cannot resist using these things. They are the easiest and simplest thing in the world. Get yourself one of the little earth bars. Get yourself a spool of fluorocarbon. I'm using the Seaguy Harris. I'm using the number 5, which is a 0.37. 0.37 is a good all-round average. If the water's a little bit coloured or you're fishing at night, you can get up 0.40, 0.45 if you like. It doesn't really matter at night. If it's really gin and clear and bright sunshine, maybe drop down to the 0.33. But I've got the 0.37 here. First thing I'm going to do is tie on my 0.37 fluorocarbon to the side swivel on my earth. So the swivel that's coming out the side of the earth there. Trim your tag. Measure off. I tend to go with about 4 foot. It's about 4 foot. It's not technically accurate. So about 4 foot of line. You can go a little bit longer if you like. Wouldn't really go much shorter. And then attach yourselves a circle hook. What am I using today? I'm using Owner Mutu Light in the 3.0. Anything. I mean, we've got loads of different options nowadays. We've got Gamma Cats of Octopus Circles. You've got the Tronix T22s. There's loads of really good circle hooks available nowadays. 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, depending on the size of your bait a little bit. These are relatively small, half a crab. I probably could have got away with a 2.0, but I've gone with the 3.0. Get your circle hook and tie it on the end of your line. Now, I have done a simple 4-turn half blood knot there. Whichever knot you use is absolutely fine, of course. If you want to get technical, if you want to be a bit snazzy, you can use a perfection loop to attach your circle hook. There is a little advantage to that because it aids the movement of the hook. It allows the hook to really hinge when it's in the fish's mouth and set to the hook. So if you want to be a bit snazzy, use a perfection loop. If you want to be quick and easy, chuck it on with any old knot you normally use. And that is it. That is the rig. Done. Simple. Now, a couple of ways of doing this with the crab. First of all, you're going to need other than your pair of scissors, a 2-prong bait tool. I have got the shorter of the two because we're not using a long bait, so we don't need the long one. And some bait elastic. By decent quality bait elastic, this is the Tronics Pro Baitex, by far my favourite. Is a latex bait elastic, which is slightly different. Don't buy really thick, heavy bait elastic, okay? If you're struggling with baiting up with fine bait elastic because it keeps snapping, rather than just giving up and buying some thick, heavy stuff, just a little bit more practice. Practice makes perfect, okay? The first way of baiting this up is going to be super, super simple. I'm going to spear my crab onto the 2-prong tool like so. And then I'm going to start applying some bait elastic. Just up and down a couple of times, whipping it in so you're holding on tight like so. And then one end, let's pick this end, I'm going to put loads of elastic. I'm going to really sort of make a really heavily elasticated little point to that crab. Okay, and this will make sense in a minute. There we go, loads. So, snap that off. Remember, with decent quality bait elastic, you don't have to tie. Once we've done that, slide that off the tool. It'll be tight because of the amount of elastic I've just used. Get your hook and hook it just through and behind that really heavily elasticated bit of crab we've done there. There you go. That might look disgusting to you, but to a crab, that's pretty irresistible. But that's all you need to do. So that's absolutely fine. That's how I fish a lot of the time. If you're going to be casting particularly hard and really giving it some beans, then we can step things up a little bit and we can use a little bit of dongle braid. So let's do that too. Grab yourself a bit of dongle braid and trim off. We're not going to need a lot because we're only on small bits of bait again. Trim off a little bit of the blade. Down one end, we're going to tie a simple overhand knot. Like so. A granny knot, basically. And eke that right up the very end there, like so. We are then going to tie a couple of random granny knots in the middle of our dongle braid. The reason why we do the ones in the middle, because it actually just helps grip hold of the bait. Like so. We've just got a little length of dongle braid with 3 granny knots on it, basically. If you want to, you can tie a little clip or an O-ring or a circle or something on the end of that dongle braid, which will stop the crab sliding off. But all the times that I've been fishing with this sort of setup, where most of the time I just flick it out into little channels and that sort of thing, I've never actually had the crab fall off. Grab your hook, grab your dongle braid, and I'm going to hook through the braid just behind that top knot that we tied. And that's why we tie that knot, so I can't pull that off. That's never going to come off. Okay? And then we're going to sort of basically repeat the process how we did the other one. Take off that bit of shoulder. So we're going to pierce the 2-prong tool through there, but this time I'm going to lay my dongle braid alongside the crab as well, and then get whipping. As you whip, try and make sure that the sort of crab is sort of folding around that braid, as it were, like so. And then give it a load of elastic. You can be quite generous with the elastic again on this. Ooh, there we go, snap that off. And then slide it off the tool. There we go. Perfecto. If you really want to, you can trim that little bit of dongle braid, but it's not going to make any difference for the sake of neatness and trying to act professional. There we go. Super. So the important part of baiting up a circle hook with crab like this is having maximum exposure of the hook. The last thing you want to do with a circle hook is mask the point, because you're not going to hook any fish. So with the dongle or with the bit of crab just hanging off the bottom of the hook, you've got maximum exposure on your hook. And that is it. Super, super simple. One earth clip, a little bit of line, hook at the end, crab on the end. Stick a lead on there. flop it into your nearest estuary, reel in bass. If you want to see all of this in action, check out either this video or this video. They're both great watches and I catch some beautiful bass. And don't forget to like and subscribe.